You've canceled plans because your dog seemed a little off that day. You've pulled up the doggy cam in the middle of a meeting just to check that they're okay. Maybe you've even skipped a weekend trip because leaving them behind, even for 2 days, felt genuinely wrong. And at some point, somebody probably laughed and said, "You love that dog more than most people?" Honestly, they might be onto something. But here's the part most people get wrong. Being this attached to your dog isn't a sign something's off with you. If anything, it can tell you something pretty useful about how you experience trust and safety in general. And once you get why that is, you might understand yourself a little better too. So let's actually dig into it. To understand why people get this attached to their dogs, we need to start with something psychologists call attachment. And no, this isn't a pets are basically babies thing. It's a lot more specific than that. Attachment theory didn't start with animals at all. It came out of decades of research on human relationships, especially the bond between kids and the adults who raise them. Researchers like John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth were the ones who really put this on the map, showing how our early experiences quietly shape what we expect from closeness later in life. Basically, your brain learns what closeness is supposed to feel like. Is it safe? Predictable? Can you actually relax around this person? Or do you have to stay a little alert, constantly reading the room to know where you stand? And that's exactly where dogs get interesting, because the relationship you have with your dog can feel almost embarrassingly simple by comparison. Your dog doesn't know or care whether you had a good day at work. They don't care that you said something awkward in a meeting, or that you look exhausted, or that your apartment's a mess. You walk in the door and they're just happy you're there. Think about a normal interaction with another person. That consistency even is someone a big you love. Deal. There's usually some quiet mental math running in the background. Did that come out weird? Are they annoyed with me? Do they need something from me right now? Should I explain myself? Human relationships take work because humans are complicated. Dogs aren't running that math. Your dog isn't evaluating your job title, your appearance, or how fast you texted someone back. They're just responding to you right now as you are. And for a lot of people, that creates something genuinely rare, a relationship where you don't feel like you have to perform. You can have the worst day, sit on the couch, say absolutely nothing, and your dog will just climb up next to you and stay. That doesn't mean dogs are a replacement for people. It means they offer a different flavor of connection, quieter, more predictable, way lower pressure. And that sense of calm you feel isn't just in your head either. Research on human-dog interactions has picked up on real biological shifts happening during those moments. Touch, eye contact, just sitting together. One of the most studied players here is oxytocin, the hormone tied to bonding, and studies have linked those quiet interactions to oxytocin responses in both dogs and their owners. So when you flop down next to your dog after a rough day and feel your shoulders actually drop, that's not just, "Oh, my dog is cute." Your body is responding to something real. That connection tends to matter even more when life feels shaky. After a breakup, in the middle of a move, starting a new job where everything feels unfamiliar and nobody knows your usual order at the coffee shop yet. Your routine shifts, people come and go, and sometimes you don't quite feel like yourself. Through all of that, your dog is often the one constant. Same face, same walk, same excited greeting at the door, same warm wait next to you at night. That matters more than people give it credit for, because loneliness was never really about being physically alone. You can feel completely lonely in a packed room. What people actually crave is feeling known, feeling accepted without having to explain themselves. And for a lot of dog owners, that's exactly what the relationship offers. Not a replacement for everyone else in their life, but a place they can finally exhale. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting, though. How you feel around your dog can be a pretty accurate mirror of what you actually want from relationships in general. Maybe you realize you feel safest with consistency. Maybe you value affection that isn't conditional. Maybe you've noticed you need relationships where you're not constantly guessing where you stand. Your dog isn't creating those needs out of nowhere. They're just making them a lot easier to see. And once you notice that, you might start looking at your human relationships a little differently too. You might clock how often you're walking on eggshells around a certain person. You might realize how tiring it is to constantly prove you're worth keeping around. Your dog becomes a kind of reference point, not because every relationship should function like the one you have with your dog, but because now you know, in your body, what feeling safe actually feels like. There's an old, lazy assumption that someone who's this attached to their dog must be lonely, isolated, or somehow bad at human relationships. That's just too simple. A strong bond with your dog doesn't automatically mean you're avoiding people. For most dog owners, it's simply one more meaningful piece of an otherwise full life. There's also a real difference between attachment and dependence worth naming here. Loving your dog intensely isn't a problem on its own. The actual question is whether that relationship is adding something good to your life or quietly crowding everything else out. If you love your dog deeply and still show up for friends, family, work, and your own hobbies, there's nothing unhealthy happening. If anything, that bond might be one of the best parts of your life. And there's one more piece to why dogs matter this much. They need you. Not because you're impressive, not because you nailed some presentation, not because you said the exact right thing. They need you because you're their person. You feed them. You take them out. You notice when something's wrong. You're the one who shows up when they're scared. Every single day, they remind you that you matter to somebody without conditions attached. If you spend a lot of your life feeling overlooked, that's a bigger deal than it sounds. Taking care of another living creature builds routine, builds purpose, and stacks up thousands of small moments that quietly say, I matter to this animal. That's not a small thing. For a lot of people, it's one of the most meaningful things in their life. And that's part of why losing a dog can be so devastating. You're not just losing a pet, you're losing a relationship, a whole routine. The walks, the specific little sounds they made around the house, the greeting at the door, the exact spot on the couch that was always theirs. And maybe most of all, you're losing a living witness to a stretch of your life. Your dog might have been there for the breakup, the new job, the move, the wedding, the hard year, and thousands of totally ordinary Tuesdays nobody else was around for. So when that relationship ends, you're not only grieving the animal, you're grieving the life you built around them. That's exactly why pet loss can hit as hard as it does, and there's nothing strange about that at all. So what does it actually say about you that you love your dog this much? Maybe you value consistency. Maybe you're craving emotional safety somewhere in your life. Maybe you're just naturally nurturing. Or maybe it's some combination of all of it.